Born into a family of witches, Park Xianga was a famed heavenly fairy. Her clairvoyant ability allowed her to see all kinds of ghosts and monsters. People continuously sought her for exorcisms, fortune-telling, and divination. One day, Parkanga was helping a man exorcise an evil spirit from his body. Suddenly, a phone ringtone sounded. The next second, Park Xianga looked at her wrist. She realized it was her watch alarm. She could no longer care about anything else. She took off her witch robes, revealing her school uniform underneath. She abandoned her client and sprinted to school. Besides being a witch, Park Xianga was also an ordinary high school student. Like other students, she worried about being late and punished. Though she hurried, Park Xianga still arrived late and decisively climbed the school wall. She almost fell when she lost her grip. Fortunately, Pio Jiho caught her precisely. Pio Jiho was ranked second to last in their class. There was a test today. He worried Park Xianga, the last-ranked student, might be absent. He waited there eagerly for her. Park Xianga decided to study hard during night self-study instead of sleeping. But within minutes, she fell asleep on her desk. A bespectacled boy got up to use the bathroom. He ignored the hallway lights flickering. He also didn't see the several slippery handprints on the wall. When the boy sat on the toilet, water dripped on his neck. He looked up. A water ghost with disheveled hair and a gaping, bloody mouth appeared before him. Frightened, he rushed back to the classroom and told everyone there was a water ghost in the bathroom. Everyone thought he was joking. Park Xianga, who was sleeping, also didn't take the matter seriously. Park Xianga sat in the shrine as usual, performing divinations for people. The desires in this world are countless. Those without money seek wealth. Those who are single seek a destined match. When desires aren't fulfilled, people become unhappy. Park Xianga told every client to cherish what they have in the present. No one knew that she, the witch, envied ordinary common people. Only one more client remained to finish the night's work. Park Xianga looked at the client who appeared before her. Her eyes instantly lit up. The boy who entered was entirely her type. However, the next moment, the boy in her sight started walking upside down. A little girl who once performed a divination prophesied that her destined love would appear upside down. Parkanga screamed internally about the unfairness because anyone who entered walking upside down represented being plagued by misfortune with their fate ending. She didn't want her destined love to be taken by heaven right after appearing. Confirming the boy was her destined person, she abandoned her reserve and grabbed his hand, swearing she would save him. She would remove all misfortune from the boy. She went to her mother for help. Her mother scolded her for taking on someone destined to die. After all, there was a past lesson. It nearly implicated her before. Back then, Park Xianga tried to save the restaurant owner who walked in upside down. Not only did she fail to exorcise the vengeful ghost and save the owner's life, Park Xianga herself almost got hit by a car. Her mother reminded her someone entering upside down meant the law of equivalent exchange had activated. The price for forcibly changing fate was losing her own life. Unwilling to give up, Parkanga blurted out she liked the boy at first sight. The next day, the boy appeared before Parkanga as a transfer student. Parkanga, who was sleeping, got startled awake and stood up directly. Only then did she realize, as a witch, she wore a mask the whole time. The boy hadn't seen her face. Her standing up drew ridicule from the whole class. Everyone mocked her for being boy crazy. Not wanting this, the boy helped her out, saying they had met before. That's why Parkanga was surprised to see him appear. The boy's name was Bae Gun Woo. His act of helping Park Cheong-ga made her like him even more. On her way home, Park Cheong-ga saw the restaurant owner she failed to save, now a ghost, frantically stomping on a billboard. And Baegon-woo happened to walk right under the billboard. She rushed toward Baegon-woo. She was nearly hit by the falling billboard. Baegon-woo pulled her into his arms. Park Cheong-ga explained she intended to save someone, but ended up being saved by Baegon-woo. Park Cheong-ga didn't understand why. When facing danger, Baegon-woo showed no trace of panic. Then it occurred to her, someone plagued by misfortune must have faced countless dangerous situations. To save Baegon-woo, she sought out the famous flower fairy master for talismans. She spent a high price to obtain several talismans. Due to traveling back and forth to find the flower fairy master last night, she felt physically drained. She intended to collapse onto Baegon-woo, but was caught by Pyo-ji-ho instead. Park Cheong-ga woke up in the infirmary after school had ended. She suddenly remembered she forgot to give the talismans to Baegon-woo. Her original plan was to start a sweet romance using the talismans, then reveal her identity. Since the plan was disrupted, she could only give the talismans to Baegon-woo using her witch identity. This time, she saw Baegon-woo entering upside down, completely drenched. She suspected his manner of death might be drowning. She handed the talismans to Baegon-woo. Before she could explain how to use them, Baegon-woo suddenly demanded to know the cost. He accused Park Cheong-ga of being a fraudulent scammer after money. Even though she wasn't trusted, Park Cheong-ga still didn't give up on saving Baegon-woo. Only 3 weeks remained until Baegon-woo's death. Park Cheong checked nearby locations where drowning was likely. Pyo-ji-ho knew Park Cheong-ga's identity. He asked her to give a talisman to the bespectacled boy who saw the water ghost. Park Cheong-ga analyzed that the bespectacled boy was simply too weak. Most importantly, she wanted to save the talismans for the handsome Baegon-woo. Right after she spoke, Park Cheong-ga saw several wet handprints on the wall. They extended all the way to the boy's bathroom. This time, Park Cheong-ga believed the bespectacled boy's story. Perhaps there really was a water ghost in the boy's bathroom. While everyone was in class, Park Cheong-ga went to inspect the boy's bathroom. As soon as she sat on the toilet, the soaking wet water ghost opened its mouth wide at her. She grabbed the water ghost's head with her talisman-covered hand. She asked the water ghost if it had any unfulfilled wishes. She promised to perform exorcism rites for it. They also pinky promised it wouldn't scare classmates anymore. Just as Park Cheong-ga was about to leave, several boys walked into the bathroom. Park Cheong-ga signaled the water ghost to remain silent. At that moment, Baegon-woo entered. The water ghost heard Baegon-woo's voice. It swiftly moved out and enveloped his head. Baegon-woo instantly felt suffocated, gasping as if drowning. To save Baegon-woo, Park Cheong-ga stuck the talisman to a water pipe. She grabbed the hose and sprayed the water ghost on Baegon-woo's head. Park Cheong-ga sprayed water following the water ghost's position. This continued until the water ghost disappeared due to the water fight in the boys' bathroom. Park Cheong-ga, Baegon-woo, and others were punished for 1 week of campus cleaning. Park Cheong-ga didn't want Baegon-woo to misunderstand her as a troublemaker. She lied that she sprayed the hose because there were cockroaches in the bathroom. But Baegon-woo coldly replied he disliked her more than cockroaches. After all, cockroaches didn't get him punished. He also demanded they keep their distance. As soon as Baegon-woo left, Park Cheong-ga heard dog barks. She saw delinquent boys punished smoking at the warehouse door. A fire ghost was standing inside the warehouse. The fire ghost snapped its fingers, igniting a cigarette butt thrown on the ground. Another snap launched the butt onto cardboard piles and instantly caused flames to flare up. Park Cheong-ga rushed over and stomped out the flames. She scolded the fire ghost for daring to start a fire there. The boys, unable to see the ghost, thought she was picking a fight. They confronted her to settle scores. She felt nervous, but braced herself and scared the three away. Begon-woo, hiding around the corner and hearing everything, murmured to himself, Parkanga really was a quirky girl. That evening, Parkanga lamented that the talismans were used up dealing with the water ghost. Her mother suddenly entered and handed her multiple new talismans. Her mother couldn't stop her from helping Begon-woo. She had threatened the flower fairy master with a large knife to draw the talismans. Parkanga gratefully hugged her mother and acted cute. She didn't know the flower fairy master, resentful after being threatened, had tampered with the talismans. Parkanga wanted to slip a talisman into Begon-woo's phone case. As she racked her brains, Pyo-ji-ho pretended to trip, lunging onto Begon-woo's desk and taking his phone. Parkang had just gotten the phone when Begon-woo's grandmother entered the classroom with the homeroom teacher, wanting Begon-woo to settle in faster. The grandmother had specially made pastries for the whole class. She ran out of the classroom intending to slip the talisman into the case. Pyo-ji-ho, who followed her out, helped complete the task. Unfortunately, their actions were seen by the grandmother. The grandmother recognized it was Begon-woo's phone. Parkanga seized the chance to hand the phone to the grandmother. She was glad her grandson had made friends, but Begon-woo denied Parkanga and Pyo-ji-ho were his friends. Parkanga suddenly announced loudly she wanted to be friends with Begon-woo. She also wanted to eat at Begon-woo's house. Pyo-ji-ho accompanied the grandmother out to buy groceries. While Begon-woo wasn't paying attention, she hid talismans in various corners. Except for Begon-woo's bedroom, Begon-woo forbade her from entering his room. Begon-woo handed her a cup of water, telling her to sit still. Parkanga touched the warm cup. She marveled that Begon-woo was a considerate boy. Hearing this, Begon-woo wanted to take the water back. During the struggle, water spilled all over the table. As Parkanga turned, the distance between them closed. As the atmosphere grew warmer, the grandmother returned with groceries. Begon-woo quickly stood up. The grandmother prepared a large table of food. Parkanga ate heartily. Pyo-ji-ho reminded Begon-woo to be filial to his grandmother who worked hard to care for him. The grandmother explained defensively that Begon-woo's parents were busy working abroad and entrusted him to her care, but they called frequently. Parkanga sensed family issues made Begon-woo cold-natured. To comfort him, she revealed she was adopted. Her adopted mother likes to play with swords and knives, but isn't much of a cook. That's why she loved the grandmother's cooking so much. After dinner, Parkanga realized they were in Begon-woo's bedroom. She tried to hide a talisman inside a box on top of a cabinet. She accidentally knocked down the box. Multiple gold medals for archery championships fell out. Only then did the two learn Begon-woo was once an excellent archer. Classmates also learned the secret, eating the grandmother's pastries. They looked online and found Begon-woo had won multiple archery championships. He was a future national athlete, but was expelled from sports school for setting fire to the dorm. After that, word spread that Begon-woo was an arsonist. Classmates called him a pervert. Begon-woo didn't know his secret was exposed. Parkanga seized the chance to place a talisman under the mattress, but suddenly got a call from home. Learning guests were waiting for the fairy to appear, she could no longer care about anything else and rushed home. The grandmother ran after her with her bag. She addressed Parkanga as Fairy. It turned out the grandmother had recognized Parkanga when she saw her slipping a talisman into Begon-woo's phone case. She wanted to thank Parkanga for caring about Begon-woo. The next day, the grandmother brought Parkanga's favorite food to the shrine. Parkanga was devouring the meal when Begon-woo suddenly burst in. Earlier, the grandmother had taken the food, saying she was visiting a new friend. Begon-woo grew suspicious and secretly followed her. Seeing that her so-called friend was the heavenly fairy, he misunderstood Parkanga was not only scamming for money, but also free meals. He cursed at her, calling her shameless. Parkanga looked dazed, not upset by Begon-woo's insults. Instead, she remembered something else. When Begon Wu entered, she noticed his upside-down form was engulfed in flames. This meant Begon Wu would die by fire. Since the arson rumors spread, Begon Wu had been isolated at school. The classroom atmosphere suffocated Begon Wu. He excused himself to take out the trash and hid in the warehouse. But as soon as he entered, the warehouse door slammed shut on its own. Soon, the classmates saw flames erupting inside. Parkonga pulled out the talisman from Begon Wu's phone case to save him. She was shocked to read it read, "Kutor Young is a big idiot." Kudor Young was her mother's title. Realizing the talisman was fake, she furiously cursed the Flower Fairy Master. Inside the warehouse, Begon Wu was surrounded by flames. The familiar scene reminded him of the dorm fire tragedy. The fire ghost exploited his guilt, tempting him to give up. At the critical moment, Parkonga smashed open the door. She threw salt at the fire ghost, but the salt's effect was weak. Seconds later, the ghost returned fiercer than before. Just as Parkonga was overpowered, Pyoji Ho shattered a window and sprayed a fire extinguisher. The fire ghost fled in panic. Through the thick smoke, Parkonga reached out and pulled Begon Wu to safety. Due to Begon Wu's arson record, the homeroom teacher suspected he set the fire intentionally. Parkonga was overwhelmed with worry for him. That night, the grandmother visited and revealed the truth. Begon Wu had been plagued by misfortune since he was a child. No shaman, domestic or foreign, could help him. People always looked at him strangely, calling him a jinx. They forbade their children from associating with him. Some even bet on his life and death. Slowly, Begon Wu's spirit was crushed. What destroyed him wasn't misfortune. It was people's words. Parkonga tried to comfort the grandmother, but couldn't touch her. She realized the grandmother had long been exhausted from caring for Begon Wu. She had passed away without seeing her grandson one last time. Parkonga understood she was speaking to the grandmother's spirit, who had come because she couldn't let go of Begon Wu. Hearing the grandmother beg her to hold Begon Wu's hand to not leave him alone, Parkonga tearfully promised that once she decided to care for someone, she would never abandon them, just as gods don't abandon people and mothers don't abandon their children. After the grandmother's spirit vanished, Parkonga sprinted to the funeral hall. No matter what, she would stay by Begon Wu's side. The grieving Begon Wu tried to push her away. She stepped forward and vowed never to leave him alone.